If you're an adrenaline junkie, you probably enjoy going on roller coasters and other high-speed theme park rides. Over the years, park owners have tried to push the envelope to make their rides faster and scarier than ever before in order to attract people to come and pay the admission fee. Sometimes the attempt to scare the pants off a crowd may go way too far. In the video today, we're looking at some of the scariest rides that have ever been built. Number 10. The Cannonball Loop. Action Park in Vernon, New Jersey was a perfect encapsulation of what life was like being a kid in the 1980s. If you got hurt, most parents had a rub some dirt in it mentality. Action Park was rather infamous for tampering with the rides to increase speed limits and make it far more exciting than any other park that played by the rules. They earned a reputation of being dangerous enough to fracture bones, and a total of 6 people actually died. Let's put it this way, the park's reputation for playing fast and loose with safety was enough to inspire a movie starring Johnny Knoxville. Still, parents kept bringing their kids back every summer anyway. One of their most dangerous attractions was a water slide called the Cannonball Loop. It was a fully enclosed tube that made you go so fast that you did a complete 360 inside of the slide. When the owner of the park first designed the slide, they sent a dummy down and it came out the other end without its head. After a few adjustments, he had park employees paid $100 to go down the slide because they were terrified to try it. According to testimonials, riders would almost get knocked unconscious as their bodies were slammed around inside of this tube that was powered by gravity and a trickle of water from a garden hose. One woman got stuck inside the tube at the top of the loop, so they had to install an escape hatch because they somehow didn't think of that before the incident occurred. Once the authorities at the New Jersey Carnival Amusement Rides Safety Advisory Board caught wind of what was going on, it was eventually shut down in 1996. Number 9. The Takabisha roller coaster in Japan. You know that terrifying feeling of going down an incredibly steep roller coaster where your stomach suddenly feels like it's up in your throat and you feel like your body just might fly out of your seat? Well, the one ride that will make you feel this more intensely than anywhere else in the world is the Takabisha roller coaster at Fuji-Q Highlands in Japan. The coaster's vertical drop is at a 121-degree angle, which makes it the Guinness World Record holder for being the steepest roller coaster in the world. The ride costs $12.50 for the experience and only lasts about 2 minutes, but it just may scare you to the point where you feel like you've taken a few years off your life. Number 8. The Stratosphere. The Stratosphere Hotel and Casino has your typical entertainment with gambling, drinking, and food. But the thing that makes this casino unique is the fact that it's incredibly tall, standing at 1,149 feet high. At the top of the tower, they somehow managed to install several different thrill rides. Their X-Scream coaster is 109 stories high, and it rushes forward at high speeds before the car leans forward to make you feel as if you're about to fall over the tower and into the city below. Their Insanity ride suspends people off of the same building, only this time passengers are strapped into a harness and spun around in a giant circular contraption that resembles an octopus. There is also a ride called The Big Shot, which brings passengers up to the very top of the tower, only to plummet them back down. Last but not least, their sky jump actually allows you to jump off the side of the building. Number 7. The Human Catapult. In the early 2000s, the Middlemore Water Park in Somerset, England had an attraction called the Human Catapult, also known as the Human Trebuchet. It was exactly what it sounds like. People had to pay a $40 fee for the privilege to be placed inside of a giant medieval-style catapult and hurled like a ragdoll through the air with only a net to catch them. The owners of the ride must have known this was ridiculously dangerous because every person was given a helmet and a neck brace before entering the trebuchet. However, no one at the park seemed to realize how physics work. Since everyone has a different size and weight, there would never be a predictable trajectory of where they were actually going to land. In 2000, a woman even broke her pelvis after she was flung from the trebuchet. The owners should have taken this as a warning to shut it down, but in 2002, a 19-year-old Oxford student died after landing a few feet shy of the net. Number 6. Tower of Terror 2. When it was first built in 1997, the Tower of Terror 2 at the Dreamworld theme park in the Gold Coast of Australia held the record for being the fastest and tallest roller coaster in the world. As you might have guessed, the name of the ride is inspired by the Tower of Terror in Disney parks, but this Australian version of the ride is far more intense than what you will find in the most magical place on Earth. Since it first opened, other rides around the world have beaten the Tower of Terror 2's speed record, but it doesn't make the ride any less terrifying. Parker guests begin the ride inside of a tunnel before they're hurled backward, going 100 miles per hour. Once they reach the top of the 38-story tower, they are suspended vertically in the air before being catapulted back down to Earth from a 100-meter tall vertical freefall. The ride is so intense that you actually experience 3.25 seconds of weightlessness. Number 5. The Eejanaika roller coaster. So apparently the third dimension is not enough, because a trend in the early 2000s was to make 4D roller coasters. The first one of its kind was called X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. The ride experience included flamethrowers that spewed flames over the passengers, as if you needed to be more terrified for your life in that moment. But like with most technology, Japan was like, you know what? We could do better. The Fuji-Q Highland theme park in Japan created the Eejanaika roller coaster, which was a remake of the X2, only everything about it is faster and more puke-inducing. The seats rotate at 360 degrees as you're hurtling 78 miles per hour down a track. The roller coaster has 4 rails instead of the usual 2 in order to achieve spin control and stability so that the cars can complete 14 rotations during the course of the ride. Number 4. The Smiler. Located in the Alton Towers Resort in Staffordshire, England, a roller coaster called the Smiler holds the record for the most inversions on any roller coaster. But in 2015, riders' worst nightmares were realized after there was a horrific crash. An empty car lost control on the ride and passengers crashed into it, going over 90 miles per hour. CCTV footage captured the entire incident on video, so there was no denying that this was caused by negligence. Thankfully, no one was killed, but 5 of the passengers now have injuries that are going to affect them for the rest of their lives. 2 of those people even had to have their legs amputated. While the others were lucky enough to not have been seriously injured, they still have PTSD and psychological trauma from the crash. Alton Towers was taken to court and forced to pay millions in fines for their mistakes. However, once they made 30 different adjustments to improve the safety of the way they ran their business, the roller coaster was allowed to reopen in 2016 and has been operational ever since. Number 3. The Giant Canyon Swing. The Giant Canyon Swing is a pendulum that is suspended 1,300 feet above the Colorado River. The attraction only takes up to 4 passengers at a time because it has a weight limit totaling 800 pounds. Passengers have to sign a safety waiver absolving the park of any responsibility should the pendulum plummet them to their doom. It swings them back and forth at speeds of 50 miles per hour, which is just as fast as many other roller coasters out there. It's apparently a great way to see the beautiful scenery of the Colorado River. That is, if you can actually keep your eyes open long enough to witness it. Apparently the ride is so scary that even the owner of the park, Steve Beckley, only went on the swing once and never again. Further, he only did this because cameras were rolling for ABC's Good Morning America, which was there filming the opening of the ride. Number 2. The Perilous Plunge. The Perilous Plunge was the world's tallest waterslide, located at Knott's Berry Farm in California. The attraction brought riders up to 115 feet before dropping down an incredibly steep decline at 50 miles per hour. Visitors to the park raved about how fun the ride was, and it became a new fan favorite. In 2001, just a year after its opening, a 40-year-old woman fell 100 feet to her death, landing in a shallow pool of water below. Normally, passengers were required to wear a seatbelt and a lap bar, and employees were required to check the restraints. However, this woman was on the ride at 10 at night, most likely towards the end of a tired employee's shift. However, investigations could not determine if this was the fault of the park or if she had jumped from the car on purpose. However, Knott's Berry Farm was forced to completely redesign the ride to make it safer, so the Perilous Plunge was allowed to stay operational until finally closing for good in 2012. Number 1. The Formula Rossa. Last but certainly not least, we have the Formula Rossa ride at the Ferrari World amusement park in Abu Dhabi. If you love the luxury car brand, you'll absolutely love touring the Ferrari theme park. Don't be fooled by the fact that this next roller coaster looks kind of like the Cars Radiator Springs racer ride in Disneyland. The Formula Rossa is not for kids. This roller coaster is shaped like a fire engine red Ferrari, and it goes from 0 to 149 miles per hour in just 4.9 seconds. It goes so fast that passengers are required to wear safety goggles to cover their eyes, and the skin on their face starts to push itself back from the sheer force generated by the velocity. It currently holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest roller coaster in the world. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Do not forget to subscribe. We've got brand new videos just like this every day of the week. For more from me, why not check out my other channel called Today I Found Out, that is linked to below. And as always, thank you for watching.